Hello, lovely people, and good evening. This is an evening talk instead of our wake up early in the morning talk when you see us with no makeup and we're just getting out of bed. Now we've had a full day, a full day today. And today's topic, what is it? Make complete peace in your relationships and get out of your emotional funk. I always think it's easy to get inside a relationship because everybody's in their best behavior. Everyone, wants to be liked. Everyone wants to be approved. And so and then the blinders are off and the hormones are high and the giddiness is there. So it's so easy. I had a friend,
Right.
he would say, like, it's easier to get in a relationship than get out of one. And I was like, why? What does he
Mm.
say that? Why does he say that? It's easier to get into a relationship, but to get out of one is harder. Why do you think that is, Tammy?
That is interesting. I have to think about that. Well, it's what you know, the fear of the unknown, the fear of what if you never find anybody again? What if that to be out in the field looking again and dealing with the drama, trauma, and you know. But you're right, there is a lot of fun in that search process because your blinders are on, like everything's good until you find until you get into the nitty-gritty of
Yeah.
human interaction.
And I also think, we've all heard that conversation where opposites attract. And why is it, do you think that opposites attract? You know, if if one person likes to dominate, and the other person likes to be submissive, or if the other person avoids domination, and it's like the way relationships, kind of evolve and work. It's a perfect. It's like like no one. There's no analytics that could create such a perfect dance with people. You have the narcissist and then you have the people pleaser. So they come together. You have the person who is emotionally, I don't want to say needy, but emotionally needy. And then you have the person who's avoiding it, who doesn't really want to, and that's who you attract, right? So it's the way we are attracting our relationships, and how we attract our relationship uh, comes from, if we were secure, we would make decisions based on today, based on just you right here, right now. But no, we bring information from the past, right? And we're not even conscious about it most of the time. Most of it's so unconscious work. We're just like, you know, I don't know. It's like you just wake up one day, you're like, how did I get in this relationship? You've been sleepwalking, you've been getting married, you've been sleep having babies, you've been sleep having your own home, your own business, your own career, just until you wake up. And then you wake up, you're like, how did I get here? And that's where us as trainers come in. So, hi, this is Rita Wood and Tammy Magnuson. And through brain training, we can figure out patterns, what patterns you have picked up from your caretakers, from your parents, from other relationships that you have learned on how to behave. Like for me to get love, my love is very transactional. So you as a parent,
Right.
or as a mom, my mom would say, I give you this if you behave like this. I punish you if you act like this. So there's this weird emotional dark ages of parenting and relationship. Like if your spouse does something good, you're up there, you're praising them. They do something bad, and you're like, I'm not talking to you. I disapprove of you. I disregard you. And it's just crazy. Relationships are amazing. If you want like total healing, look at your relationships. Look how you act. Look at how what you do and say to be able to get what you want. If that's significance, if that's love, if that's attention, what are you doing? And what are you doing when you don't get it? And who do you act like? Like a 12-year-old?
right,
blaming, shaming.
right.
Yeah.
And go right back to, and the whole thing is it's all based on the way we're raised. So it's interesting how uh opposites attract, and it probably has more to do with what they learned from their parents who had opposites that attracted than almost anything else. I mean, being drawn to that opposite for how whatever reason that happens. But what's interesting is it's the memories that programmed people before they were 7 years old that uh, draws that created how they're going to behave, react, and associate in a relationship. So those memories are what is the key to how come things keeps happening. And so when people say, I was talking to somebody today and he said, it's just ingrained in me. And I was like, that's a great word, because it's not such a scientific brain training word, but it's a word that you understand. It's ingrained in me to respond this way when my spouse does this, my partner does this, my kids do this, my mom does this, right? It's ingrained in you. And that ingraining is the memory. And that's what is amazing. Once that memory changes, once you change those powerful emotions in the memories, what can show up? What else opens up for you?
I know for me it was like it's in my DNA. Like that's how I felt, like it was so
Right.
untouchable. Like it was in my DNA. Like how can I, and wow, in today's day and age, quantum's this and that, and like it literally probably was in my DNA. But like through brain training, so what we do is we find uh, your approval about what you disapprove of yourself or others. So we find like, because we want to make complete peace. How do you make
Mhm.
complete peace in your relationship? Is whatever it is that you're doing and saying, you're doing it and saying it because there's something within you.
Right.
There's a program inside you. So if I disapprove of, Tammy's happiness and she's just so happy go lucky, if I disapprove, if something happens in me that she's this happy thing, and so then I have to look at me,
Right.
and say, okay, where in me have I disapproved from my own happiness? Where in me have
Mhm.
I dismissed my happiness? Where in me have I shut it down? Right? And so
Mhm.
we go in there and we figure out how we're doing it, right? How are we doing? How are we? Uh, it's just some part of us that it's a survival. If I was happy, what bad thing would happen? We go there, we ask for those questions. That feeling, that sensation, where have you felt that before? We go and we look for it. The first time, the worst time, the most recent time, and we're directing your unconscious mind to find that. So can you imagine if you're in your relationship and what's another problem in relationships? Being authentic, right? How can we be authentic when we grew up having to shut our emotions down, having to dismiss our emotions so we can support, help our parents like us? Because if they don't like us, and we thought they were going to abandon us or betray us or not feel like, that's all survival, right?
Right.
So now we're grown up. Now we have to learn to be authentic. So we and some of us, I don't know, for me, I was like, I couldn't even feel, I don't know, because it was so shut down. Like to feel, because I go with the flow, or uh, uh, people pleaser, or because you are trying to get people to like you, because if they don't like you, what happens? Your existence disappears. Like you are invisible. Like there's so many programs that are running our emotional. And then how do you get out of your emotional funk? If you can find those, flip them, switch them, let them go, let them vent, let them out.
Mhm.
Those old programs, rewrite it, release it, rewire it to to uh, to more happiness, more uh, authenticity. And how fun is it when you can be in a relationship where you can express yourself? And I do this a lot, in my relationships, is I say, look, I'm just telling on myself. It's not true. It's not right. It's all made up. But this is authentically how I'm feeling. And this
Right.
is what's happening. I'm feeling choked up. I'm feeling, like, and it's so beautiful to be emotionally intelligent and be like, oh, because there's nothing wrong. It came up. But if the other person, if I tell Tammy, yeah, Tammy, your happiness just like crushes me, it just makes me feel stuck or whatever. And then Tammy can hear all that. And I go, look, Tammy, it's not about you.
Right.
It's about me. And I'm just talking this through and I'm figuring out where in me do I need to make peace? Where in me am I disapproving of that funness? And so
Yeah.
it's fun to be able to do that.
Well, and that's huge because if you have a conversation where you're not feeling blamed, like how different would it be in a relationship? Whether it's with your kids, your parents, your partner, your work, like how different would it be if you, as you're talking about something, you're actually not blaming, but you're just associating like, oh, this is what's going on inside of me. And, and it's not your fault, but
Yeah.
but making somebody aware of it and then knowing what to do about it. So
Yeah.
is really is important. Know how to do something about it.
Yeah.
Know what works for you. Know yourself so that as you know these things that come up, you know what to do to counteract blaming other people and expecting them to change so you can feel good.
Yes. That
That's going
is
to be a
probably
road. Yeah.
That's probably the biggest thing that I think, especially as married couples, I was there once too. And as a married couple, there's these huge expectations, right? And they're not even realistic. And sometimes they're just even overwhelming that another human being has to be your all for you so you can be content, so you can be happy, so you can live your life. And it's like, that is a hard task. And so there's this, I'm exploring this right now. So, there's the people who want the freedom to do, to have, to be, right? And then there's the people who want connection. They just want to connect. So, there's these two, I don't know if they're if they're a duality where because if you connect and if you commit to connecting and you commit to being with that person in that level, um, you know, the, I mean, there's freedom to express, yes, but it's like you're committed. I mean, so when you commit I'm committed to you, Tammy, to have a business, and so, the freedom. So I can have the freedom to choose. I can go somewhere else, create something else, right? But
Right.
we're in a committed relationship where we can learn how each other communicates, how each other connects inside our business, inside our programs. So it's pretty interesting how we can have I don't know if we can have our cake and eat it too. I mean, I guess we can hang up the call and I'm free to free to do, free to have, free to be, but then yet be connected. Having the responsibility of being there for you and growing growing. I mean, because when you're with your kids,
Right.
you have a commitment to this is underage. When you have your kids, you're committed to giving them the most healthiest emotional opportunity, right? So we want to listen to where they're at. We want to make sure that we're communicating in such a way where we're not disapproving of their emotions. Don't feel that way. Don't, right? Or dismissing that. It's not that big of a deal. Or,
Right.
even because look, when we're growing up, how do we handle emotions? We're not taught. What
Well,
do you do with
you're taught
emotions?
by what we see our parents do, or our teachers, or our grandparents, or our nanny.
So
Yeah.
our parents immediately go to
what would be the ideal, the ideal way to, parent yourself? Because we have to reparent ourselves, right? Don't you think? We have to rewrite our history. We have to rewrite how our parents taught us and what they taught us, and take responsibility. Take responsibility for our own emotions in our own relationships. So, and we do that through break training, and we invite you. We have 2 calls coming up. Actually 3 calls, right? December 21st, December 7th, and December 3rd. And the one on the 3rd is what we're calling a holy heart relationship. And a holy heart relationship is like being pure, being authentic, and being in a relationship where you feel connected, if that's what you want. If you want freedom, then you probably don't want a relationship. And you're muted. Is it fair to say that?
Yeah, that's right.
Yes. So just there's a link below that you can click on. That link has the stop technique. The stop technique will help you kind of get an idea of how you have control. You can control what happens inside, and how you can interrupt it, and how you can start training your brain. Bring that to the call. The call tomorrow is at 12:30 Central. If you have any questions, you could always PM us, DM us, or type it in the message below. Anything else, Miss Tammy?
That's it. Like this video, share it with your friends, click the notification button, and we'll be back another day. Ask questions below. Don't forget to do that.